Hi, you guys. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I've put this off for a long time because I don't have an office. So anytime I videotape anything, you're gonna see my chest freezer because I have a chest freezer in my living room. But I also have a piano, so it's okay. But I couldn't wait any longer because I have some very exciting news for you. If you've read any of my Facebook posts, and I believe I've put a blog post up about this, you may remember that I have some childhood favorite books. One is Jelly Beans for Breakfast. The other is The Mystery of Sara Beth. Now, these books are no longer in print, so if I want a copy on Amazon, I'm going to have to pay about $70. Well, I was cleaning out one of our bedrooms this week. And look what I have! I own The Mystery of Sara Beth. It's a lot smaller than I remember it being, and it's a lot thinner than I remember it being, but I own the book. And I'm going to share it with you. This is The Mystery of Sara Beth by Polly Putnam. The mystery begins. The mystery began in December. Becky and her friends were working. Wind and snow blew against the windows. The door opened. A girl walked in with her mother. They stood near the door. The girl wore a furry blue coat. Miss Harris, the teacher, spoke to them. Then she said, "Class, this is our new girl. Her name is Sara Beth." Miss Harris pointed to the desk in front of Becky. "Sit there, Sara Beth," Miss Harris said. Becky smiled when Sara Beth sat down, but Sara Beth didn't smile back. Sara Beth didn't turn around all morning. At noon, Becky showed Sara Beth the lunchroom. "Will you eat with us?" Becky asked. Sara Beth shook her head. She went to a table by herself. Becky and her friends sat at the table together. They talked about Sara Beth. "Why doesn't she want to make friends?" asked Becky. "Maybe she's shy," said David. "Yes," said Janie. "If we're nice to her, she'll soon be our friend." Becky, David, and Janie helped Sara Beth. Becky found some workbooks for her. She lent Sara Beth a pencil and ruler. Sara Beth said, "Thank you," but she didn't smile and she didn't talk anymore. Janie took Sara Beth to the gym. She showed her some tumbling tricks. She told Sara Beth the rules for dodgeball. Sara Beth said thank you, but she didn't say anything else. David showed Sara Beth the library. He helped her take out a book. Sara Beth said thank you. That was all. "I give up," said Janie after a few days. "Sara Beth doesn't want any friends." "I want to know why," said Becky. "Everyone wants friends." Becky is puzzled. Becky wanted to solve the mystery of Sara Beth. She wanted to know why Sara Beth didn't want friends, so she looked for clues. Becky saw that Sara Beth's blue jeans were old and faded, and Sara Beth only had 2 blouses. But she wasn't the only one who wore faded jeans, and her blouses were always clean and neat. No, Sara Beth's clothes were not a clue to the mystery. Becky had another idea. Maybe Sara Beth was afraid she couldn't do her schoolwork. Becky peeked at Sara Beth's papers. They said good and only had a few red marks on them. Sara Beth often raised her hand to answer questions, and she was in Becky's reading group. She was on the same math page as Becky. No, Sara Beth wasn't worried about her schoolwork. What other reason could she have for being unfriendly? Becky couldn't guess. Sara Beth stayed alone. Sara Beth stayed alone until the day Miss Harris carried a big wire cage into the classroom. The teacher put the cage on the work table. The children crowded around the table. They looked in the cage and saw 2 guinea pigs. One was black and the other was brown and white. The children were happy to have 2 new pets. They named the guinea pigs Harriet and Smitty. "Someone will have to feed and care for the guinea pigs each day of the week," said Miss Harris. "Mondays and Thursdays will be the hardest days because the cage will have to be cleaned." "I'll help," said Sara Beth. I'll do it every Monday. The next Monday, Sara Beth cleaned the cage. She washed it inside and out. She put down clean newspaper and hay and filled the water bottle with fresh water and set out new food. She fed bits of celery and lettuce to the guinea pigs. Then she let Harriet and Smitty play on the work table. She laughed when Harriet tried to hide under an open book. She picked up Smitty and held him close while she petted him. Becky was more puzzled than ever. Why would Sara Beth make friends with animals and not with her classmates? Becky sees 3 clues. During the next few days, 3 strange things happened. They gave Becky the clues she needed. The first strange thing happened in the coat room after school. Becky was alone with Sara Beth. A reading book dropped to the floor. Sara Beth had hidden it under her coat. Becky said, "You know Miss Harris doesn't let us take reading books home. She's afraid they'll be lost." Sara Beth's face turned red. "Please don't tell," she said. Becky didn't tell, but she had her first clue. The second strange thing happened when George Pitt had his birthday party. Mrs. Pitt gave everyone a glass of punch and a beautiful pink cupcake. Sara Beth drank her punch, but she didn't eat her cupcake. She wrapped it in a napkin and put it in her desk. Becky had her second clue. The third strange thing happened on a Thursday. It was Janie's day to clean the guinea pig cage. While Janie was cleaning it, Harriet jumped off the work table. She ran under the desks and under one row and up the other. All the children tried to catch her. Everyone was laughing and shouting. The classroom was in an uproar. Becky was the only one watching Sara Beth, and Sara Beth wasn't chasing Harriet. She was standing on a chair. Her face was white and she was shaking. She was afraid. Becky had her third clue. It was the strangest of all. Becky thought about the 3 clues. 1. Sara Beth did not obey the rule about taking reading books home. 2. Sara Beth saved her cupcake instead of eating it. And 3. Sometimes Sara Beth loved guinea pigs, and sometimes she was afraid of them. All at once, Becky solved the mystery. She knew why Sara Beth would not make friends. One mystery is solved. Becky could hardly wait for the chance to see Sara Beth alone. At lunchtime, she sat at Sara Beth's table, but right away Janie and David sat down near them. Becky ate her lunch and said nothing. The mystery would have to wait. Before gym, Becky and Sara Beth were alone in the locker room. Becky started to speak, but then Miss Rogers, the gym teacher, came in. "Hurry up, girls," she said. Sara Beth followed Miss Rogers out the door. Becky was afraid she would never see Sara Beth alone. Her luck changed during art. Miss Harris said, "Becky and Sara Beth, please go to the workroom to get more paper and paint." Inside the workroom, Sara Beth reached for a jar of paint. "Tell me," said Becky, "are you Sara or are you Beth?" Sara Beth almost dropped the paint. "What do you mean?" she asked. "I know you're a twin," said Becky, "and I know the 2 of you take turns coming to school." Sara Beth's eyes opened wide. "It's true," she said. "How did you know?" Becky said, "You gave me some clues. I guessed that the reading book and the cupcake were going home to someone. I didn't know who until today when you jumped up on the chair. You're afraid of Harriet. Your twin isn't." Sara Beth sat down on a low stool. "I'm Beth," she said. "I was bitten by a guinea pig at our other school. I had to have a tetanus shot. And now I've given away the secret." Beth put her head in her hands. Becky put her arm around her. "You were unfriendly so no one would find out the truth," said Becky. "Yes," said Beth. "But I don't understand," said Becky. "Why couldn't you both come to school?" "We just moved from a place where the weather is not so cold," said Beth. "My father's been out of work. There was money to buy only one warm coat. Sara and I take turns wearing it." Becky went to the door. "Let's go back to class," she said. "After school, we'll tell Miss Harris. She'll know what to do." "I'm afraid she'll be angry," said Beth. Miss Harris wasn't angry. "We'll speak to the school nurse," she said. Miss Harris wasn't angry. "We'll speak to the school nurse, Beth," she said. "She keeps extra mittens and hats. Maybe she has an extra coat." Beth looked surprised. "You mean there are other children without warm clothes?" Miss Harris smiled. "Of course," she said. The next day, 2 smiling girls walked into Becky's classroom. One was wearing a furry blue coat. The other was wearing a brown wool coat. Now Becky had a new mystery to solve. Which girl was Sara and which girl was Beth? Now, if somebody out there can just find me a copy of Jelly Beans for Breakfast, I will be the happiest person in the world.